Hello, hi. Nicholas here. The surprise live stream for those jumping in live. That was later. It's not going to be so much of a surprise. It is 4:53 here on Sunday, February 15th. Haven't been live for a while and haven't done a video. And so here I am. Gonna kind of ease in, let this simmer for a bit to let some people join in on the stream. I got some thoughts. I have other things I don't know about. As a matter of fact, let's just get something straight right here. I am a gifted a human being person. I have some gifts, and I try to trust them and my intuition and the data of astrology. Like I do. This is what I do. At the same time, I'm going to tell you that even though I know things and I'm gifted, I also don't know things. And it is key that I stay in that space, whether it's on this live stream or it's with clients, one-on-one consultations, or it's with interactions with the world and the universe, especially with the crows today. Just when you think you know their behavior, they always show you something. And that's what happened to me today that led me to this live stream. I'm going to talk about the eclipse here that's going to happen on Tuesday, February 17th. I'm going to tell you what I know, and I'm going to try to keep the space open for things to come in, things that I don't know, okay? Maybe, is that going to be a theme of my stream today? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for joining. I'll check the chat in a second. I'm doing a primetime surprise Sunday night thing here, so don't know if people on the East Coast are going to catch me. I know those in other parts of the world are going to see this later, that kind of thing, unless you're up late. So need you to say something to me in chat that it's coming in loud and clear, that it sounds decent. I'm looking at my audio. Seems like it's loud enough. We'll see. There you go. There's a couple other transits this week to talk about. I guess there's something that happens on Friday that's pretty big. Will I even talk about that? Or I think I need to make a separate video about Friday. So that's what's going on there. I'm going to say hi to people in chat here, so on and so forth. Thanks. And one more thing before I jump in and put some charts up on the screen. I'm going to talk about some of these things, and then I'm going to also end my stream with a couple informational things. If you happen to be watching this, you're new or it's later, usually it takes me about, I don't know how many hours after the stream to put in chapter markers. So if you're watching this, hit the chapter markers that eventually will appear there. Some of it's going to be in references to websites and events that are coming up in the astrological world. I might reference some resources like books or something like that. It all will be eventually in the copy down below. And of course, subscribe if you're new here, but check for the chapter markers later, okay? So saying that, let's jump right in. Hey, let's go in to see who's in chat to me. Today already so far. Hey, Big Les, channel member. How are you? How are you? I'm in the house barely. You're in the chat house. Good to see you. Oh, Angie McClellan's here. Hello. JRP Jelly Seahawks. A week ago, there's the Super Bowl, and it was amazing. I think it was it was a week ago at this time. I think the official kickoff was like at 3:40 something, the actual something of the game. It had a Leo ascendant possibly, Mars and something else. But it's funny, is it around this time or just after a week ago where there was the Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny and the wild and amazing situation that was and turned out to be? I know some of his music I'm a fan of, and other parts of it I don't really care for. Regardless, that happened a week ago, at least from a cultural standpoint, and there's a lot that's happened since then. Maybe I'll pull something up later about that. I just want to say, yeah, go Seahawks. Thank you. A go 420 or 2-0s in the house. And let me just open this up a little bit more. I don't know if it's going to be viewable on screen. Titsy and X made it on time, finally. This eclipse is happening in my 5th house where my natal moon is. I see. I'm assuming it's a air moon. Mani, hi, good people. Another channel member, and Lillian's here. So I got some channel members. And yeah, I don't know how many other people I got. I might not have a bunch today. Give me a second if I do some technical stuff here in the background. So yeah, there we go. That's what I'm doing. I see I see Ray Faye in chat too. Good to see you. Morning. Morning. They're in the morning time. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do, was right there. So there's something that might happen during this stream that I might have to attend to. And I have an alarm going off for that, and you guys are going to do it with me. As a matter of fact, it's about 1 minute and 53 seconds away. We might as well do this. I'm about to bid on a vintage gold resin Taurus zodiac chain. I realized I forgot I had this thing that I was going to do. It's gonna happen here. My alarm's going to go off in a second. On Shop Goodwill. By the way, that's a funny website for bidding. And there's my alarm. I didn't know it was going to happen this time, so this live stream is going to incorporate this. I don't know what the hell to do with this particular bid, but we're going to, looks like I'm 1 minute and 22 seconds away from it, and I'm going to do something off air here. And watch as I do this. So saying that, I want to say support for all that. I didn't know that was going to happen, but it's happening. There's the transits. Let's see what I'm going to do. I'm about to bid on something here in less than a minute. I see, hey, there's a Leo ascendant, pretty close. I'm having a Mars return right now with Mars there. I don't know if that helps. What is Venus? Venus is 7 degrees, kind of squaring my Mercury. What's happening here with the moon? The moon's conjunct Mars-ish on waxing. It's squaring the midheaven and the bottom of this chart. Yeah, and I have a moon in Aquarius. Do I bid on this? I'm going to. And so I'm 30 seconds away from it, and I'm just going to put it in now and not worry about it. Let's see what happens here. Currently the highest bidder. All right, we'll see. I'll put that result. So we'll see what happens. That's what's going on with me. I need some Taurus on me. Besides that, right now I want to take a look at something here because, as always, for people who follow me on Instagram, every time there's a Moon-Pluto conjunction in Aquarius, I do my audio. There's an audio group that I have on there, and today I had something to say about that. So for me, it's always a big deal when Moon conjuncts Pluto. That's where we are right now. If you look at this, the Moon is basically in balsamic phase, the phase before the new moon, the darkest part of the phase, the ending part of the phase. The dirt is cleared, we're retired, we're in a little cave, we're silent. We're silent, we're trying to be chill. How would an Aquarius moon do something like this? And I'm an Aquarius moon, what I should be doing is not doing anything with electronics. So after this live stream and after I do some chapter markers, I'm gonna chill out and read a book and do stuff like that, at least for tonight, to get me to and try to chill electronically, or things that have to do with mind and air in a more meditative context, not necessarily where I have to stir it and do it. Okay, so that's what I'm feeling with this in particular. This situation. We're in a balsamic phase until we get to Tuesday, and I'm going to talk about Tuesday. So that's where we are. I also want to point out I have my Mars return in the last week here. When your Mars return happens, it happens every 2 years. It's something you should always pay attention to in your chart whenever you're having a Venus return, any planetary return. But Venus and Mars are ones to look at because it doesn't just go clockwork. Basically, you know, transits take a month, 2 months, Venus and Mars. But then there's retrogrades that happen, and it kind of doesn't mess with the clock, but we go back, and it takes a while for depending on what sign you are, to have your return happen. Mine is happening here. Precursor. For anybody who's got mid degrees here, or late degrees Aquarius, or Aquarius in general, the precursor here to the eclipse world we're about to enter in slowly here Tuesday in the Aquarius Leo parts of people's charts, and then for sure in the second half of the year and all of next year when the nodes will be in Leo and Aquarius. Maybe if I remember, I'll bring up those dates later when the nodes change. So I basically want to gauge, you know, where we are when I'm starting this live stream. I'll look at chat here when I get a second. And it looks like I pulled that sucker off. I think I did. So we'll see. If I get a notification. Saying that, I'll go and chat one more time before I jump into the transits. Hey, Yasmina. Hi, stranger. How are you? Good to see you. Astro Mackenzie is here. And look, I just had super chat, man, from my old friend for the ginger. Canada Dry. ¿Cómo estás, huh? Gracias para la propina for this live stream. It's good to see you here. And it's good to see some water in the room too. Saying that, appreciate you, Canada Dry. Thank you. And oh, Angie, happy Mars return. Thank you. I've been feisty this week and I'm holding it back. Maybe it's going to come out on this live stream because I've been internal and I've disappeared off this channel for the last 10 days and other things. So let's do it. So anyway, we point out the moon here. We're going to see a moon-Mars conjunction eventually that's going to happen tomorrow at 10:09 a.m. Again, air signs, anything Aquarius. This is kind of an interesting place. I love balsamic phases, as you know, and we get to here till Tuesday. But before we do that, I want to point out something that's brewing here in the next 3 hours. Just to do it, because basically the sun in Aquarius at 27 degrees is waxing its square with Uranus. Now, Venus did this already. Remember, about a week and a half ago, Mercury already did this in the story. We know eventually Mars will do this, right? And the moon. But we know here we're getting to this place. It's kind of interesting to have these planets move through where earlier planets weren't catching up to Neptune and Pisces, Saturn and Pisces. But then you have these planets ingressing. I'm going to talk about that. But you have this gate that planets are going through, at least fixed signs, fixed-wise, that are touching this place. It's in April, the end of April, where Uranus and Taurus will go into Gemini. So we're in the background. We're paying attention to Uranus, and we've had to. It's been in the background the last week and a half with transits. It's obviously going to be not in the background this week, but it's front and center with a lot of the astrology, as you will see. But the sun squaring Uranus, or we should say Uranus cracking open that sun at 27 degrees, prepping it basically for the eclipse that will happen, or the new moon that's going to happen here on Tuesday at 28 degrees. Okay, so we're making a note of that, all right? And we're going to go. I'm just going to go a day here. It's moon in Aquarius. God, I have a personal monumental transit that's happening right now this week. I'll just say it. My progressed moon will be conjunct my natal moon here this week. This is rare business, and it has to do with business in my world because I'm a 10th house Aquarius person. So I've been waiting for this for a long time, watching this, and it's happening. In my personal life, I've had things happen in the last 48 hours that are wild to pertain to this. I have a feeling more is coming. So saying that, moon in Aquarius here is going on. Autumn's, hey Autumn, good to see you in chat, along with T. Goet. Good to see you, Autumn, online in person. Ran into somebody recently, Rick Levine's forecast in person, which was, I don't know, a week ago. I don't know when it was. All right, so let's go. Let's go to the 16th here. I want to show you something that's going to become very important during the next month and a half because of Mercury retrograde that will happen in Mercury's in Pisces right now. It's going to happen. I'll pick this spot right there in this chart here. And it has to do with Mercury here at 15 degrees and Jupiter, which is currently retrograde at 15 degrees. I got to do something here. As I always do on my streams, I must go, where is it on here? I want no somethings. I want not no houses. I want no aspects. Blank chart. Beautiful. So, by the way, I encourage any of you doing astrology and stuff to do this. Look at blank charts, as in there's no aspect lines. Do it do it all the time, because it will start messing with your brain in another way if you're not used to it. The other way to do this, side note, we're looking at grids. Okay, here's a grid that you can't see anything because I don't have any aspect lines in there. Let me add them. Here I'm using Astro Gold, by the way, on the Mac. It's my favorite program they use. I'm an affiliate member for Astro Gold. You can use Sparkles 15 and get 15% off the software, by the way, if you could do that. All that stuff's in the copy. But let me add the aspects. I think it's here. And then when I put the grid here, you could see how the transits are hitting in general in a chart. So, I could see that, Mars is a 1 degree separation from the moon. Uranus is 0 degrees separating from the sun, as in it just, you know, it's right there. So this is a way to do astrology in a different way. If you have to quickly go in the charts, if you're not going to use the front-facing wheel, you can use the grid and start to learn how to like boom, 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 like that. So saying that, we're going to do this with a blank wheel. Thank you for going along with that. And we are going to point out Mercury here at 15 degrees and Jupiter. Now, if you're paying attention, you see that it's water and water, which makes a trine aspect happen. And hey, think about when this last kind of happened with Mercury in a water sign and Jupiter in Cancer. It was the end of last year when we had these wild, grand water trines that happened with all the planets that went into Scorpio that moved through there. Remember all this stuff? In one sense, this is the story continued in the water parts of your chart, whether it's the Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, but we're focused on Pisces, Cancer right here. Now, we know here very, very soon that Mercury is going to stop and go backwards, which means it is going to hit this place. Again, during the retrograde, it's going to touch Jupiter, 15 degrees-ish. We're getting close to something major with Jupiter in March, where it'll finally stop going backwards and go forwards out of its retrograde cycle. But going back to what I'm talking about, Mercury is going to basically trine Jupiter 3 times in this story here. So we're preparing ourselves here right now for a Mercury retrograde that's in a sense in process. The stories are happening there. Know the review and the revising that you're going to have to do. I personally think this goes even bigger and deeper depending on your chart, that the grand water trine of the end of last year, this happens to be the degree and really close to, I might as well just pop it up on the screen to do it for reference, even though I got to do chapter markers on this damn stuff later. You could already see I have something popped up here. I didn't have to put it. Venus conjunct Jupiter. When did it happen last? It happened at August 11th right here last year. And we're going to go look to see where Venus and Jupiter is. And the conjunction happened at 14 degrees. And it just so happens that we're doing this first Mercury-Jupiter trine here on Monday, 1:31 p.m. Pacific on the 16th of February. That pretty much is right on this spot, the 14, 15 degrees. If you're one of these people that was a major thing in your world to set off the Cancer part of your chart, the fixed parts of your chart, the cardinal parts of your chart at this, whatever, some of you astrologers, you're already putting it together. I just want to show you something here to remind you at this time last year, where Saturn was and Neptune was. They already ingressed, they're already going retrograde here 1 degree, right? Obviously here are the nodes, right? We know that. We see where Pluto is at 2 is going backwards. We're just looking at stuff. We're looking at a stationary Mercury here that happened here in Leo, right? Right there on 4 degrees Leo. Okay, we did that. We did that. I like to do those things for the show because it's putting on a show here. An entertainment vehicle, entertaining your mind. So let's do this. Let's zip back to the 16th. I'll pick right here to what we were talking about to come right back because y'all are with me on this journey, this entertainment journey. So there's 15 and there's 15. All right? I can't help it. I can't help it but do it on these streams. That I will look at where Mercury is, and I'm going to say trine Jupiter. And here's October 24th. This is when it happened in Scorpio. And then November 22nd, where another Jupiter trine Scorpio that happened because we did the retrograde. Remember this, we did the retrograde with Mercury and Scorpio. And then here we are on December 6th. I'm not going to put the charts up. We did 3 hits with Mercury and Jupiter. And then here we are, February 16th. The next one will be March 8th. I'll put this up on the screen. Oh, my computer better not stop freezing on me. It's been doing this. Speaking of retrogrades. There's the 15th on March 8th. You could see here that Jupiter's still retrograde. It's about to move forward very soon after this. But you could see here, I'm doing this for reference for you all, right? You could see Mars is coming up on a node then. We're going to talk about Venus in the node here very shortly. And look at, 27 there. Okay, we're doing that. One more chart. to reference this. April 3rd, right here, you see now Jupiter in Cancer is now stationed. It's not fully moving forward. It's at this 15-degree place. Remember when these planets like Jupiter, Saturn, and other outer body planets, when they're stationing, it doesn't switch in a day. It's sitting there. When they station retrograde and then when they station forward, they're sitting there. Now, not moving as fast as like Mercury when it stations, right? It takes a day or something to, and then it starts moving, a couple days at least. But here, it's kind of sits there. So you could see how important these 14, 15 to 16-degree places in general. So you see here that basically Mercury here is at 15 now. It's moving, starting to move out of the retrograde. It's moving forward. And there's the third trine that's going to happen. If you're catching this too, just because of how I roll, you'll see that Mars in Pisces is at 25 degrees. I think that's very important because of the theme I'm going to talk about here this week. So saying that, we're going to go back. I'll check in really quick in on chat. Hey, hi. Okay, you guys are with me there. And all right, cool. I don't know how many people are watching. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to do my thing. So let's go. Let's go here. I talked about the first trine, and we might as well go into the eclipse chart itself. I'll pick it right here. This great thing about Astro Gold, you just hit the eclipse button and you just go straight to the eclipses. You could also query for people specific charts too, where it directly affects their chart by a degree or whatever order that you want. We'll pick it right here, and I'll put it up on the screen right there. There is solar eclipse that's happening. You could see here the new moon. That's what that solar eclipse is at 28 degrees. And I like to do the basics. Saturn is the ruler of this lunation. And we know that it just entered in on the 13th of February. Saturn went into Aries. Now, you could see Neptune's in Aries there too, and basically from this point on, within 3 days, we're going to do the official Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which is on Friday. I don't know if I'm going to talk much about that. I'll say a little bit here. Now, you have a funny thing happening here. You know, to me, astrology has to do with layers and cycles, okay? And I think the art of it, whether you're looking at your own chart or mundane events or clients' charts and stuff, I mean, you could do the research that one does, right? You're looking at certain narratives, and we have many narratives going on in our life. We have one cycle ending, another one beginning, and then we might even have another one under there, like in it. And depending on the concepts or the techniques that you use, we're using different things, whether it's solar arcs or progressions, or you're doing, Fidaria like I've been doing, or Dasa periods and Vedic or whatever else, or whatever small stuff. We're kind of understanding cycles upon each other. And I think at this particular time with the astrology, I think we have many cycles crossing each other. We've been doing a thing for a year, more than a year, with planets in Pisces going at the last degrees of Pisces and moving forward. And I showed that chart of last year, August, how things went into Gemini, Uranus, and then Saturn. We know the story, then they went back and we did this whole thing, and now here we are. First couple months of the year, we're prepping ourselves for crossing this bridge from the old to the new that I've been talking about on my videos. But I don't think it's just two stories. I don't think it's just a Pisces going in the Aries thing, right? It's an Aquarius and Leo thing at the same time. So I'm going to bring this up just so you can see my brain process with stuff like this. It's Saturn's ruling this lunation. We know Mars in Aquarius is the ruler of this, and it then goes back to Saturn. As a matter of fact, we have the funniest of, in a sense we could call mutual receptions happening here with this one, in the funniest of ways, because Mars rules Aries. I'm pointing to the Aries glyph here. Saturn rules Aquarius, right? So we have that. I'm like, okay, there's some sort of funny air fire understanding that's happening here, right? That's all, like, in one sense, I'm like, all right, cool. Now, if we just focus on like the Pisces parts of the chart here, we have the Pisces and then we have the Aries. So without even looking at all this stuff, I'll just cross it out. Without even looking at it, we're doing we're still doing the Pisces and the Aries story. So even though in my mind, Saturn and Neptune are there and I entered it and there's a definite switching, I don't feel that it's complete yet. I personally do not feel that the Saturn and Aries story and Neptune story doesn't really kick in until Mercury and Mars are all the way into Aries down the line. Until Mars, what we looked at a chart earlier, that was at 25 degrees in the beginning of April, and Mercury eventually, when they get to like 27, 28, 29 degrees Pisces, that I feel is the true ingress, the true story here. So even Saturn is there and it's kind of hovering with Neptune. They're going to be at these degrees there. It isn't until the rest of the Pisces planets finish and go through the Saturnian Neptunian gate that I feel that it is tangible. It is there. It's not only in your head, it's in your body, and it's in the physical universe. I think it's present. I mean, the thing happened with Saturn, you know, on Friday the 13th at 4:11 p.m. I had something, as soon as the ingress happened, I did have some funny changes that already popped in. But I knew that the logistics of the changes, that the certain things, there was so much more to play out because of Mercury in Pisces and what it's about to do during the retrograde. And how then, you know, to cross these symbolic last degrees of Pisces. So there's another thought process about this chart, because I'm just kind of piecing it out, right? Now, saying that, if you're going to go with me on this one, now, if someone's looking at this, and we know what eclipse is, I think in particular, I talked about this with my monthly forecast with my Patreon members, and I talked about this in a different way with my colleague Ashwin on the CAPISAR YouTube channel, because we're doing monthly forecasts, and him and I both didn't feel the strongest about this particular week. And here's my reasoning is, so even though I show you some earth and air and fire thing, I think when planets have been hitting and conjuncting the node here, and we know the nodal story with Virgo Pisces, I don't have the utmost like, oh, this is a great week type of thing. I think now as I make this video, and I think the rest of the week, I think one should be as chill as possible with something like this. I think because it's an eclipse and it's already intense, it's going to be intense for the Virgo Pisces because they only have one little eclipse left here in the later 6 months from now. We're going to have that full moon in Pisces, but the nodes will not be in Virgo Pisces. So this is a funny eclipse because it's the last one where the nodes are in Pisces, Virgo, and that's what we've been dealing with for the last year and a half. At the same time, the new moon is in Aquarius to enter us in the gateway, as I call this stream, the Aquarius gateway or whatever I call it, into eventually the eclipses that will happen in Aquarius in Leo. And so for me, we have a multi-layered, multi-cycle situation here while we cross the bridge into this air fire land here for the next couple years. And so for me, I can juggle that in my mind and understand it within myself, to know what's on the brink and what's happening in the Aquarius part of my chart and the journey that's about to happen with eclipses there and the Leo and Aquarius parts of my chart. I can look and know in the Pisces part of my chart that I'm cleaning up or I'm going through, I'm almost revising in the memory of water still, of a massive cycle of Neptune and Pisces and Saturn and Pisces and some other things. If you're mutable, like what Mercury's going to do here in all this, and how Venus is conjunct a node, and usually there's an intensity with an eclipse in the north node, right? There's some kind of thing that kind of overwhelming. It's like a wild, uncontrollable wave, a tsunami that can come in the Pisces part of the chart right here, for better or worse. And when Venus is involved, is it in relationships for some of you who are affected by this? And then there's the communication of Mercury that's in on this, on the imprint of the eclipse, knowing that it's about to go backwards, knowing that it's going to go backwards and hit Jupiter 2 more times, and having to review and look at water. And we know at the end of the year, last year, we did this grand water trine stuff, and it was, on paper, looked good, but for a lot of people, it was intense. what happened during that grand water triangle. I reviewed it in the stream when Mercury was in Scorpio, and what came up for people, and the stories that needed to be tied up, and the truth of Scorpio, and the investigation that needed to go through and come up. And what has become of that investigation? What has become and what has been carried through to this point in this week, in the next month, when the rest of the Pisces planets have to do their thing? And we know, at least for me on a myth aspect, the last sign of the zodiac at the last degrees, you know, with eclipses and newly moving planets and retrograde, it's not over. There's a song I'm referencing. Maybe I'm too young. It's a Jeff Buckley song. It's Lover, You Should Have Come Over. That's what it is. And there's a song, he's like, it's never over. You know, he's mourning, it's never, he's not done. He doesn't want it to be done. He wants that person to come over. And by the way, if you go look at that song and the lyrics, it's just an incredible piece of something. By the way, Saturn and Pisces story with Jeff and what happened there when the record came out and its ultimate death with Mars, Virgo nodes. It's wild. I could pull up the chart. I could do it, but it's not over. Now, but if you know that it's not over, or let's say, I won't point to my head. I'll point to my ethereal water realm. It's not over, though. It can't be over. And Saturn and Neptune, they're on the train. They're like, get your ass up here. We're leaving. So in a sense, you're on the train already, or the train is there, and you're on the dock, and I'm like, I'm Mercurial Nicholas, trickster, whatever. I'm getting on the train, and I'm personally psyched. And I see some of you on the train, and you're there, and you're like not stepping on the train. And I'm looking at you, and I see tears. And I see mourning. I see the space between mourning and knowing that one has to get on the train. And there's no judgment from me on this one. A Saturnian judgment could be like, hey, eventually, like, you need to get on the train. Sorry, I know, I could see and hear the sadness in you. And I could feel and I see where you are. And I could stand with you here for this little period of time. But they're loading up that train. But if you need just a little bit more time, if you need it, and you need to do this, well, I got a Mercury retrograde for you. And it's going to touch the Cancer part of your chart too. But the Saturnian train is right there. You can hear it. It's not gone away. No matter how you bring in another story from the past to drown out everything, you don't want to move forward. You're holding on for whatever your reasons are in your process or why. It's legit. But no. When Mercury moves forward down the line after a retrograde, it starts to go, you better start eyeing how to climb those steps of the train. And me, I'm the type of guy that if I see you, at that point here, it's going to happen in the next month and a half, I'll reach my hand out to you. I'm like, come on, I'll help you up here, okay? Whatever story I just came up with, last week I came up with a message to my Patreon members that had to do with a backpack. Half the message never came through. It was a Mercury thing already. It was happening to me. But I basically talked about a backpack and what would you do? And what would you put in a backpack knowing that you had to leave? And you couldn't take everything with you. So there's the process of putting things in your backpack and what you choose to do, knowing you can't bring 5 backpacks with you. You have a certain size and there's only so much you can bring. And so, in that process, everybody knows this when they're moving, what happens, how you're coming up upon memories and stories, and you have to decide whether to bring something with you or not and let it go in the process of that, and pictures or old tax forms, who knows, right? It's like all this shit that happens. oh, I got to sell these things, I'm going to recycle this. That's an easy one. Then there's the things you have to ponder, like, I think I'm going to need that. And then the next day you look at it, I'm like, I'm not going to need that. So that particular thing that I just told you, I think is one of the most important things that's going to happen here in the next several weeks because of Mercury and what Mercury's doing and with the North Node. So saying that, to go back to this eclipse, that is my weird thing here of what I've been thinking about. There's a lot more to this. There's other astrologers talking about it, but I want you to pay attention on the imprint of this. You know, Mercury's still trining Jupiter. You know, we still have the nodal story here. But in between in these cycles, in this thing, we have the old and the processing, we have the new waiting for us, and then we have this underlying new gate into eclipse realm that's happening. Now, for reference sake, let's take a look at something here. I'm gonna go 6 months from now. Okay, I think it's right, is it right here? So it would be Aquarius full moon, if I'm correct. Dave, wait, is that Virgo stuff? Yeah, I'm going, that's a Pisces. Well, that's funny that I picked this on accident. This is an accident, by the way. But just so you know, that's the last trailing kind of funny thing here that's happening with the full moon and Pisces at 4 degrees. So saying that, you could see at that point, you know, the nodes are at 29. They just went in there. It's in the beginning of August. So saying that, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to find the full moon, which is it going to be right there, I think? Yeah, there it is. So here is July 29th, 2026. This is 6 months from the lunation that's going to happen this Tuesday. And you could see here that the nodes are in Aquarius Leo. We have Jupiter conjunct the sun here during this full moon at 6 degrees with Pluto. That's what's coming. That's what we're building. That's the gateway of the Aquarius world. It's like it's there, we see it, but it's sort of seeding itself right now. But for me, most importantly, so I'm glad this chart showed up, because 6 weeks from now, look at Mercury Saturn will be retrograde at that point, so will Neptune, right? There's other things in this chart I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at a Mercury in Cancer here that's at 17 degrees. Anyway, Uranus is there. Check it out though. We're doing Moon Pluto today. And that's where we are here as I do the stream here. Moon's at 8, 9 degrees or whatever else. This is 6 months from now. Big difference though, in one sense of like, nothing's Pisces, nothing's Virgo. Now it's all this. We're fully in the air fire story. But first, we're here. And everything I just said, for however long that rant was, that's what we have. So we're out in this multiple universe cycle bridge as I am looking at this. And so for me, the most important advice that I could give you is to go back to what I said earlier. I want you, if you know that you can't move at a certain pace and that you're in some sort of Piscean waters with certain things and themes in your chart, and if it's really affecting you, you're a mutable person or whatever else, catch that, know that. It's an eclipse week. It's not necessarily, in my mind, the best time to like, I'm going to do my new thing or I'm going to start a revolution. Well, maybe. It just depends where, but I think it's more of a sensitive, I think it's a very sensitive week here because of the multiplicity of the astrology. No matter how effing good at mutable you are, like me, I'm a Mercury and Gemini, it's exactly trine Uranus. Man, I'm like, it's wild with me. But even me, I'm tired. I got to watch my nervous system this week. That's my intuitive, it's my body telling me. It's not me telling you, or you have to gauge for yourself, in situations like this. We're talking about ethereal bodies, water, and then we're talking about air, nervous system, then fire. It's like, that's a concoction that can be very confusing and be a lot. So for some people, most people, I think. Now, one more thing I'm going to say here about this is I'm going to pull another chart up. It looks like I'm in review period since we're talking about Pisces shit going in the back of stuff. Where is it? I think I'm going to pick, is it this chart in September of last year? This is 2024. I went too far. Give me a second here. I'm still in 2025. There's 23 degrees Virgo. It is 25. Is it here? So this is the eclipse that we had last September, right? So for me, I remember this. I remember even before this, on the buildup in August, that Mars was conjunct the South Node in Virgo, and we had this happen coming through. And there's the full moon in full moon in Pisces. I'm just thinking about eclipses and cycles. And so again, some of you might have here. You see Mercury at 10 and all this. You might have your storylines playing out from there right now with this particular lunation on Tuesday, and especially in March 3rd or 4th when the full moon in Virgo happens. Okay, so saying that's the other eclipse. I've said enough about that. I will check in chat about my rant here. I will, Radiant Disruption, thank you for being here. Black Moon Jesus is here. I'm saying what's up to you all. Boogie667, I love that you still brought the Taurus thing. Easy to fit in a backpack. Astromech, I've been getting migraines. Yeah, all the air signs. I'm like, I just did a massive weekend of being on Zoom for so long. I can't believe I'm doing this stream right now, but I had to do it. And Colleen's in here. Good to see you all. Thanks for commenting. And let me do something here off to the side before I jump quickly to the rest of the week. I just want to say hi to the rest of you that are not in chat, that are watching live, that just show up out of the blue when I do these unplanned streams, and you're right there with me. Prime time on a Sunday night. I appreciate you. You subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. I have a Patreon. I have channel members here. Got a lot of things. And I got a lot of things for you at the end of the stream that have nothing to do with astrology charts. There are going to be some books that I'm going to tell you that I've been into lately and stuff, and a couple other good resources for you. And if you're catching me here on the pre-recorded, I'm gonna have chapter markers later. It takes me a while to add those things later. All right, so that was my off the cuff thing. Now I just want to do a different way of looking at Tuesday. I'll do it this way. I want you to show you here. Obviously, we're going to have here officially at 5:44, at 4:01 a.m. is the new moon, right? Obviously, we're having the eclipse. The Venus conjunct the North Node happens at 5:44 a.m. on Pacific time, and then the moon goes into Pisces. You know, you could see it here. This is later. The moon goes into Pisces right after everything that happens earlier with the lunation. The moon goes right into Pisces. So we're right into there, and it's prepping us because not only that, you can see where the sun is here. We're about to do the movement into sun in Pisces, right? So this is about that. We're about to have the change. It's an interesting day transit-wise besides the lunation and eclipse. You see what's happening with the moon and everything else. But Venus North Node conjunction happens. Okay, one more thing I want to say about this. If I were just to think about Venus in Pisces, and let's say that was what I chose to use or this week. Venus likes to be in the home in Pisces. How would you do it? You could say stuff in chat. Maybe you put your examples in chat for each other, like what Venus in Pisces means to you, or the concoction that's Venus in Pisces based, and how you would use it maybe to get you through the week. I think it's a great way. I would look to Jupiter. I would look to the Cancer and Pisces parts of your chart with Venus, Jupiter, even though it's not like Venus is at 9 degrees, Jupiter is at 15. Venus is waxing towards a trine with Jupiter. That's the way to use this lunation. Everything else is, I think, we're prophesizing for the Aquarius Leo stuff, and there's the Saturn trine. It's not there. Those places are there. It's the water parts of this that I think are usable and you can find meaning in. And that's why the hell we're doing this. It's why we're here on the planet Earth, is we're just trying to find meaning. We've been thrown into the chaotic indecision of this world, and for whatever reasons. What would a Pisces or Pisces energy, the last degrees of Pisces or the ends of Aries do, and then you're searching for the meaning of it all? how would you do it? And how would you do it in a way, regardless of the emotions that you're carrying, everything, how would you create that vessel and transition into this new era? And so that just came off the top of my head. Think about the concoction that you would make. You would do it, and you would put it in your backpack too. So saying that, we're noting that. Let's get to the 8th. I spent some time there. The 18th. 12:01 a.m. I'll do it by the hour. We just have to do it for the visual entertainment effect. I will pick, that's the 18th here. I'm going to go all the way back. It won't be perfect. I'll pick 12:34 a.m. Pacific time on the 18th. You could see that right before that at 12:01 a.m. we have Moon Venus conjunction in Pisces. Damn. You know, it's like if you had a chance to taste paradise and oblivion at the same time. That it actually, the concoction was so sweet, and it in the taste, in the sound, everything with your senses in this place, that it was transcendent. That it didn't matter if you were connected to the divine or falling into oblivion. Maybe they're one and the same. Oblivion is oblivion. It's a thing in our mythical world. Some of us choose to jump into a place like that. Some of us don't know that we're doing it. Some of us choose different ways of finding the light or divinity or oblivion, or maybe they're one and the same. I don't know. To me, a lot of times they are. All I know is I think of late high school and hearing a song and the girl that I had a crush on, and how I just was wanting to kiss her for months. I wanted to kiss her for months, and it wasn't like I want to have sex with her. It wasn't even, it's not that. Like, I wanted to kiss the person. I wanted paradise. And why is the stupid Footloose song entering in my head called Almost Paradise, and the slow dance with this person? I'm like, and they said yes to me going to the prom, and nothing else matters. I got this really intense cologne I was wearing, and I got my hair cut and everything. I just want to look my best. And then geez, who knows what they were going through with picking their dress. And then, do they like me, or did they just say yes to me because they wanted to go to the prom? I don't know, but here we are. And the song comes on and everything else, and nothing else matters. There ain't anything that have to do with money or survival and being young. It just is like this wild innocence fueled by hormones. And then all of a sudden, the song comes on, and the lights are low, and the disco ball is going, and the thing and everything turned into something else. And it was something else, somewhere else. And while the song chimed, her eyes glistened. I wonder what she saw with me. Knowing myself now, my eyes were probably sparkling. And so in that sense, the union, the everything and the nothing, and a kiss. We all find our ways of diving in the pool of nothing and everything, or paradise and oblivion. The moon is going to conjunct Venus at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday the 18th, and it's 7:51, so many hours later, that we go the sun into Pisces, and we leave the 29-degree realm of Aquarius, which Mars is pulling up the rear on. And here we are to Pisces birthdays. And let's give it up for the Pisces. I'll say the Virgos too. We got to give it up to them because they carrying the story. They carry stories. Meet any Pisces, Venus and Pisces, and then you meet them when they're like 60 years old, 70 years old. That's you talk to a Pisces then. Let's say they got Venus, Pisces, or Pisces. They'll have more than a story to tell you. They'll have multiple identities that they had, multiple somethings, different names, different people, different jobs. And what would they say if you were to ask them, what was the almost underlying thing that threaded the whole thing together? Right? What would they say, and how would they say it? Probably through a song, or through a watercolor, or through a painting. through a bottle of wine. Black pyramid on the tongue, a little tincture. Whatever the vessel, there's the stories to tell, and that's what we do. We live the stories. We go through the whole zodiac. We encompass the whole zodiac in our world and who we are. I'm just not a Gemini with a Taurus rising. I'm everything. I'm all the signs, even if there was nothing in my whatever house. At some point, I'm one of those things, and I learned those things. I live maybe more signs than others, or maybe I chose people in my life to interact with that they were certain planets and whatever that I didn't have my chart, but for whatever reasons, I did. And then I look later on as an astrologer, oh, maybe my progressed moon was in a certain sign like Sag, or maybe whatever else, and I had to play out the story and learn the language of Sagittarius, even though I'm a Gemini, I'm not a Sagittarius. And we move through all the signs. We move through everything. And we somehow maybe know it all. Well, I'll tell you, Pisces is a story of that in one sense too, to show how we move through life in different ways and becoming something and identifying with something and separating and coming back and swimming around. And there's this underlying deeper meaning to it all. Yeah? Happy birthday, Pisces. Sun's getting close to the node right there. You see that? Moon trine Jupiter that day. Moon conjunct Mercury that day. We have a fascinating week here. Uranus in the background. I didn't even talk about Uranus in that lunation chart. I know I didn't talk about Uranus square the thing. I went on my other rant with all this. So saying that, more Piscean story here, and it could be beautiful. Chill. Let's get into the 19th as this is turned into a weekly forecast. And we see here, we have this moon. We have this moon in Pisces that's hitting 28, 29 degrees. We're going to make a note of that transition at the very end. My premise of this live stream, we're going to make a note of what the moon is carried through here and here and here. It's carrying that story. About to bring it to here. It's about to bring it on the train. See what I'm saying? It's about to bring it right over there. A little exercise for you of how to step on the train. We still have to do Venus and Mercury and all that to get on the train. We're still going to have to do 29-degree Pisces sun when we get on the train. But you got a little hint. You got a little training ground here. We're dealing with the stories and goodbyes and the transition. Moon goes into Aries at 11:39 a.m. here on the 19th, and we get all of a sudden, might as well do it because I'm doing the stream. I am 52 minutes in the stream. I'm doing pretty good right now. And so saying that, I'll pick, let's see, I'm looking at the 19th here, 12:4. I'll pick right here. I'll do right here. And we could see here, then the moon passed through Saturn and Neptune, and now it's past there. See, okay, so we have the movement. We have cycles upon cycles. Little storylines playing out with past storylines and new ones. And we do this dance. It could be a very confusing week, but we pick whatever you need to pick this week to make you feel like your feet are on the ground and you somewhat have your shit together, okay? So whatever it takes. The politics this week, the mundane astrology, I expect something because of the North Node, planetary nodes, the Venus coming through. I feel it there. There's something going on. The lunation that happened at 28 degrees Aquarius with Uranus squaring it, there are certain people out there with late fixed degrees. We're going to see something this week, you know, or the next couple of weeks or whatever with eclipses. If it's hitting directly on their chart, we don't just see it this week. It plays out for 6 months, okay? Remember, that's an eclipse tip, da-da-da. Okay, so saying that, we got this whole thing, and then we just have another Friday, another Venus day, right? It's just another Friday on the 20th. I mean, I think it's one of the most boringest Fridays I've ever seen in my life as an astrologer, as being on planet Earth. I mean, it's like, okay, it's 1:30 in the morning, like, it's there, and we go here, that seems, look at that, I don't know, whatever. I mean, I should just go on to the next day, shouldn't I? Like, I should just, I'll go by the minute. I go, okay, and it's at 8:52 on Friday that officially we do a Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries. Now remember, last year, mid-year, when both these planets are there, they were a minute away or something wild. It was, I forget, you guys could put it in the chat or whatever else, how close they were to an official conjunction. It never happened mathematically, but it was an opening, and here we are. We're at the symbolic place. And I don't know when I'm going to make a video on this. I don't know when to make a video on Saturn Aries. I'm going to do an all signs video. I'm going to pull it off. I'm just going to be late with it because honestly, I have so much on my plate, and I've been doing other things that have had more priority and importance in my life that will support me as an astrologer and everything else. And plus, you know how I am, I'm just going. So saying that, yes. Do we have this amazing moment? God, think about this week. Think about this week. Think about what we talked about with the lunation that happened on Tuesday and the storylines going on. And then we have this train over here that's ready to roll here on Friday with Saturn Neptune. Dissolving of old structures and how that fallout's going to happen in people's lives. Let's say it's that, or it's the envisioning of something new to build upon in the Aries part of your chart. It's all of those things. We'll see it play out. I don't know how it is in your particular chart. I love working with you. You know, some of you have been my clients and other people, strangers. I'm willing to talk to anybody about this. You can get a reading from me down below. I think those who are my Patreon members, I didn't send my code out, discount code, ask me. I'll come up with it tomorrow. I'll throw it there. Whatever it is, you know me, I'll work with people. So with good boundaries. Speaking of good boundaries. If you haven't thought about what this means in the Aries part of your chart, let's not even think about Neptune. Let's not even think about it. Let's just think about Saturn Aries. That's the way I would look at it. I would look at it that somehow you first have to, there's a piece of your metaphorical property, let's just say it's the Aries part of your chart, and that you're about to go in there and like dig it all up. Why would you dig it all up? There's something that needs to spurn from that place. There's a calling within the Aries part of the chart that must move towards something that's a new life, or the vision of the new life. That's a little bit of Neptune with the Saturn there, but something's there. So let's say it's the piece of that property in your Aries part of your chart, and maybe you got to dig it up first before you do whatever else you're going to do in that piece of property. Before you lay things down, you're setting it up. You're setting up the foundations in the Aries part of your chart right now. It takes a while to do this. Aries would love to pull it off in a day. That's not happening. Not with Saturn being there. It's actually a process and learning how to do the process. But first we have to envision and see what the hell we want in the Aries part of your chart. And then we have to go, well, I have to tear that thing apart. And that means you got to get some tools or a shovel and hopefully some help. Depending on the Aries person, they're going to want to do it themselves. Maybe that's the lesson some of the Aries have to learn. They can't do everything by themselves. Maybe they ask a Libra for some help. Anyway, so saying that, think about what I'm saying here. It's a 2.5-year transit with Saturn being there. The Neptune's 13, 14. It's a long time. It's foundational work. We start with boundaries and foundations. If it's not clear to you yet, it's okay. I think it'll become clear to you after you finish up the Piscean stories and we get into April, and after Mercury and Mars go into Aries, we're going to have Mars-Saturn conjunction. When Aries is going to happen, it's on. Your hands are in the dirt. You're jacking up the concrete. You're doing the stuff, and you're starting to do it. And not only that, you're noticing other people do it. And then you have fire and air helping you with your ideas and moving through your body, and the blood surging through, and cutting and smashing and building and constructing, and that's the point we get to. And the constructing happens over time. The constructing is a 2.5-year project with help from fire and air. But we have to at least get some semblance of it. Sometimes the Aries person, and what we learn from them is no thinking, doing. And we need that. Some of us don't do that. The Aries shows us how to do it ruthlessly, without any thought. No thought of consequence. Life force coming out of the ground from a seed to a plant, that force that pushes through with no thought, just instinct. You take what you want from that, your version of that. But sometimes if we can plan it and hone and that concentrated force of life and know that we can't do it all at one time, that we need to find a discipline of Saturn and the structure and foundations of Saturn to make that slow burning fire build, or whatever it is, build in the Aries part of your chart. That is my opinion of how you work on this. So yes, on Friday, do we have this thing that happens? For the world, for all of us, it's big, but it's a bigger story. Don't need the pressure on yourself to, I have to do something now. Maybe you're having external pressures if you're a 0-degree cardinal person and it's there. I get it. But if you can manage and take a step-by-step approach, and remember, you're finishing other cycles at the same time. You're crossing a bridge. We talked about the Pisces stuff you still have to do. And there's this. There's a way to do this. That's what you have to navigate. But think about the plot of land, Aries part of your chart, and what happens there, okay? So I just want to say that's my version, a quickie version of it personally. Let me bust out a chat here because I'm noticing things. I said hi to Radiant Destruction. Who else is here? Ray Faye. Hello. Sherry Berry. Wow. Uncle turned 100 years old. That's amazing. Violet. Hey, what's up, Violet? You guys are purple hearts. This is turning into... It's okay. We bring in some Prince on here. Dora Destroys here, a channel member. Good to see you, Dora. I got Cosmic Rose Loves in here. I have... Who else? Oh, I got a super chat. That's a good one. Thank you, Megan, for that, and the Piscean glyph with the musical notes. That's actually cute. That's really good. Okay, that reminds me. I have a song for you guys. Is it this one? Yeah. I'm not going to play it. I can't play it here, but I'll drop it in chat. Okay? Here it is in chat. My song for you this week. Okay? That's in chat. It's a friend of mine's band, two of my friends of mine's band right there. You'll see it in chat. Megan, thank you for the super chat. Scorpio Muse is here. Good to see you, Scorpio Muse. Oh, it says definitely building foundations. Yeah, Mars. Well, I mean, that's the other thing too, is to remember here during the transit here of Saturn Neptune, when we deal with this transit, it's 2.5 years, but we deal with this, how Mars is so important in the astrology this year, you know, and we're going to be paying attention to Mars all the time. And here's Mars at 22 degrees while this happens in Aquarius, but we're going to pay attention to Mars definitely at the end of this year and all of the beginning of next year, because we're going to do a massive Mars retrograde that starts in Virgo and goes back into Leo. And that will be like basically the end of this year all the way till June of 2027. Mars is only going to be in 2 signs, really. It's Mars, it's Virgo and Leo. So think about this. And that's when the eclipses will come into play, and Jupiter and Leo will come into play. All this stuff will come into play at that time. So we're always paying attention to Mars. And that is my Saturn and Neptune and Aries. Let's fucking do this, people. The train's sitting there, whatever pace, but come on, find that fire in your heart. You're gonna find it. Do it. However your pace, you're gonna build it. And let's just be real. Let's just be real. I've lost a lot of followers on this channel for whatever. It's not my thing, and I've gained a lot because of things that I'm about to say. Because I have to stay real. I have to stick to my code. Okay? We know what's going on out there for most of us. Many of us are in privileged positions, whatever it is, maybe financially, maybe because of the color of our skin, or me, like gender, male, straight dude. I got my privileges. We all have versions of this. But what we really see going on here is a massive manipulation and a massive suppression and cruelty from the United States government to certain politicians, this whole thing, and it's mixed with Christian nationalism, and it's racism, and it's fascism. That's what it is. And then what's the truth and what's not, and the disrespect of your mind and your body and your knowledge and others. So we see that. It's real. We don't like to be lied to. I don't like to be lied to. I don't want to be messed with or fucked with. I'm not stupid. None of us are stupid. We see what's going on. And a lot of us feel powerless. And we feel more and more of what our power is, what we can do, can be taken away through the changing of laws or voter laws like they're trying to do right now. Or 38 more billion to ICE to build what? More warehouses. For what? How many people really is there to deport or put in? Or how they're subpoenaing Meta and Google for people who are anti-ICE or professing that and getting into their phones and getting their information and claiming there's no database, but there is. So we say fuck that. We say fuck that. And so even though we process and we have to deal, we're not going to ignore what our intuition and what our instincts and what our antennas are telling us. We are in a survival mode, and some of us are ready to fight. Some of us aren't, and we have to recognize that and the privileges in those spaces, right? But we're going into some territory here. The key thing here in my mind with some of the transits this week and what's happening, I'm just repeating what I've told many of you on this channel for the last couple of years, is we have to remember our autonomous space. We have to have that space. We have to know where we stand there. We take care of ourselves there, but we're also ingenious in there, and we're creative in those spaces. And what comes from that, and once you start to do it with other people, what happens? You're not so much alone, and you taste the fire. You taste the Promethean fire. And it gets in your blood, and it gets in your ideas and shared spaces. And when things seem to be all lost or getting worse, which hell, they might as well assume that they are, then what do you do? Then what do you do? Then it's all or nothing. Then it's like, well, what do I have to lose? They're already trying to take it away. They're trying to take gay marriage away. Or the right to one's own body if you're a woman. Like, so what? So we're going to give up? No, as a matter of fact, I'm going to say big fuck you, because as a matter of fact, don't count us out. You think we're going to acquiesce and roll over. That's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, history tells us. So am I a objective astrologer? Sometimes, but most of the time, I'm biased. And on this channel, I know what's happening. We know what's happening. I'm not going to insult somebody and say everything's going to be okay. No, we have to fight for something. It's not going to be just okay. But you know what? When we do come from our places of strength and power and we support each other, the key thing here is to remember the little victories. The little victories, because even when it's all lost and when you pull something new off of little victories, we celebrate it. Because on the internet, it's really easy to get down because that's all that's shown to us. But the little victories are rarely shown to us. So you know what? If we're not catching it on the internet, maybe show your little victories on the internet. But most importantly, in life and in real person with the people that you love, you celebrate the little victories, even if it seems like it's crushing down on you. The littlest thing is to be celebrated and enhanced and supported. They can't take that away from you. Even if they did take everything with you, you can't take away your mentality and your heart and your vibe within you and yourself. Can never take that away from you. And that is being underestimated. Underestimating the power of a human, which what there seems to be their back against the wall, or the creativity and ingenuity of a human being and what they will do and what they will create new for a brand new world, a brand new structure, a brand new community, or whatever. So for me, that's my little break here. We're letting go of things with the Piscean thing, but we got something coming up here. So we don't give up. We support each other. We might rest and heal and regenerate, knowing the longer story. We don't give up. You know what I mean? We just don't. And whether it is in the hardest of times or the best of times, you stand. You stand. Wounds and all, everything and else, you stand. It's who you are. You're proud of what you are. You've made it as far. You got up again out of bed. I stand. The story of air and fire and all that will be the story of getting up and standing when you think you couldn't, and stepping in and stepping forward. And you'll do it alone sometimes, and other times you're down. Somebody comes in and pulls you on the train. And you're doing it together. You're standing together. Pep talks. Listen, I'm a Mercury and Gemini. Just take it for what it is. I know what I have. I know what I do. Some of you know that what I do. Let yourself get caught up in the pep talks. Nothing wrong with that. We know what's up. We know what's up. I'm going to show you something here on the 22nd here before I jump off this casting thing and go through a couple of things I'm going to show you. It's a week from now, 12:01 p.m. that we're going to go right here. I'll pick this right here. And Venus, now it is trining Jupiter. Kind of back to the beginning of this stream and the Mercury-Venus trine that we're doing on Monday the 16th at 15 degrees. Here's Venus doing it. Maybe that prom kiss is turned into something else now at this point. And maybe this paradise and oblivion, or what we envision, or what we let go of, and what we're going to do in this transition, we find Venus and Jupiter together for their kiss. The two benefics, right? In a safe place of water. We show ourselves. We create from this place, we share, we laugh, we cry. It's everything, it's life. And it's creative, this aspect, right? So to end this, at least forecast of the stream, I show you that. And one more thing here, and it's a reminder. I just showed you an interesting thing there. I'll get to chat here in a second. So saying that, I want to show you a particular conjunction that's going to happen. I'll move this. I think I went way too long. Here it is. It's going to be on June 9th, 2026. It's going to come up less than 6 months from now. And there it is. It'll be a Jupiter-Venus conjunction that's going to happen at 25 degrees Cancer. It'll be the second in less than a year. And it goes back to the chart I showed you earlier in August of last year at 15 degrees Cancer, when we had the first Jupiter-Venus conjunction that happened. And here is the monumental one towards the end of this transit. Regardless of what I see here in the rest of the chart, that is a big point in the Cancer part of your chart. And we hit a big point this week when we get back to a week on the 22nd that I showed you when we do the Jupiter-Venus trine from Pisces to Cancer, okay? Saying that, oh, wow, I got to get to Chad. Let me see this here. Chad's in the house. Hey, channel member Chad. Hey, how are you, brother? Good to see you, Chad. A channel member here. And Dora, thank you for the purple. It's a lot of purple today on the stream. Dora, thank you for the purple boss flex going on there. Mani says Persephone's Revolution. They might be referencing a book by Rosie Finn that wrote a book on Pluto. You can check that out. Chad, thank you for the super chat. Chad says the Saturn-Neptune conjunction is right at the midpoint between my North Node in Aquarius and my IC. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of people could have this because if they're air and fire, like they're going to have configurations like this in the next couple years. Glad you're feeling sharp, Chad. That's really good to hear. And Chad, by saying this, I could say this. He's saying, my North Node in Aquarius first house. So Chad not only has a Pluto transit happening in Mars there right now, but Chad has eclipses coming his way in the 1st and 7th. And so I'm seeing Rebecca Astromech. Yeah, I love a good Venus conjunction. Yeah, thank you for saying that. And Violet saying I have Venus-Jupiter conjunct in the 10th house Cancer, my natal. Wow. Yeah, you could have 2 Venus-Jupiter conjunctions in a year, less than a year, which is amazing. Amazing. What do I want to show you? All right, I'm going to tell you what's in my world here, and I'm going to go over a couple things that are very important. God, this game. Jeez. Okay, now if anybody's a gamer out there, they know the first Hades game. If you're a gamer and want to play the first one before you play this game. But I'm in the midst of this game. It's my break when I need to clear my brain, and it's been incredible. It uses the Greek pantheon and more besides the Olympic gods, but this is Hades 2. You can find it on Steam. I think it's on Steam and GOG and Epic Games. It's on the Switch. I don't know if it's on PS5 yet. They haven't done it yet. Regardless, this is Hades 2. Beyond, it says battle beyond the underworld using dark sorcery to take on the Titan of Time. Who would be the Titan of Time? And that's Kronos, and that's Saturn. And this game's been amazing. I hit a great point in it this weekend that made me laugh and button mash my way through the underworld and through Elysian Fields and through Tartarus and all that stuff. You play Melanie, which Melanie is the sister of Zagreus. They're both children of Hades and Persephone, and there's a story going on with Kronos in this game. If you're a gamer, this is heaven. It's hard, but the storyline and the gods and the deities that come through and the dialogue, they did a fantastic job with the dialogue. Just whenever Hermes comes in, it's hilarious. And what happens. If you're a gamer, get this game. All right. Second, it was just today that I finished the third weekend for the CAPISAR. This is the training wing of ISAR, one of the astrology organizations. And this weekend, today, we finished Counseling Skills Program, which was immensely incredible. It was 19 of us during this whole weekend, and we Catherine Goshen and her assistant Lori, they just guided us through how to talk to clients and how to listen. We did a lot of active listening and relaying, like just in the beginning of working on tools to help you connect with the client on a real human level and not just talk about astrology data, but to take cues and bodily cues and how to reciprocate and mirror with clients so they feel safe in a space and you can do real work with clients. It was a fabulous weekend. They do it several times a year. We just finished. 2 weeks from now on the 28th, I'll be in the Ethics Awareness class as part of this that Tara L is going to teach. It's a one-day only class on the 28th. They're still taking a couple people. If you're an astrologer or somebody there and you're looking for guidance and you're willing to do stuff with people and to learn and to bring in stability and foundations into your practice, I highly suggest the ethics awareness, the competency exam that's going to happen later, and in the future, again, the counseling skills. You know what? There's other organizations that do this. The Organization of Professional Astrologers, OPA, they got their peer groups. They have their ethics classes. I've taken some of them. They've been great. They've completely changed my practice. This weekend was an immense help. You can go to capisar.org and see what's going on there. We're going to do in-person trainings at the United Astrology Conference in Chicago before the conference starts in person. We could have some couple more online trainings. We have the one in 2 weeks, so on and so forth. Also, there's a YouTube channel, the CAPISAR YouTube channel, and I do monthlies there with fifth generation astrologer Ashwin. And Ashwin also interviews other astrologers. You could see an astrologer, Catherine Goshen, who's the counseling skills chair. She puts it on. She talks about what that means for astrologers in a video that's up there that's free on the CAPISAR channel. You could check it out, okay? Another thing I want to throw your way is, and let me put these links in the copy, okay? Doing my community service here. Thank you, Chris. Good to see you too, my friend. I see you, Chris, Shulman, and Chad. Good to see you. There's the CAPISAR thing. I'll find the YouTube channel. I might as well do it right now. Let me see if I could do it. Let me see here. While I look that up really quick, throw that in the chat. God, I don't want to do chapter markers for this. I'm exhausted, but I'll get to them. You could see here the channel here. I will put it there. I'll put it in the chat. Please go subscribe to the channel. Check out anything you want there. I'm on the monthly forecast. You could see the one right here, the counseling skills interview with Catherine and Ashwin. It's really good. And you could see the February forecast that I did here with Ashwin and an amazing 2026 forecast with Dan Waits and S.J. Anderson and myself and Ashwin is here on this page here. Check it out. All right, so let's go to this informational thing. This is the Washington State Astrological Association based out of Seattle, which I am on the board. I'm the recording secretary. You know what we got going on? Links in chat. We have scholarship applications. Until March 1st is the deadline. You basically, I'll read this, WSAA is what we call ourselves, giving away 5 Gs in scholarships. We want to provide astrologers and astrology students with resources to further their astrological knowledge, enhance their professional skills, and engage more with the astrological community. Receive up to $500 for conferences, astrology school of course, workshops, software, or full season of our events. All scholarships are for those who need financial assistance. To be eligible, you must fill this form out. The form link, I just put it in there. The deadline's March 1st. You don't even have to be a member of an org to do it. A lot of people use this to go to conferences or to buy a class or a workshop. I have people who bought software. If you make it through the process, it's not guaranteed. There's a lot of people who apply, but I'm showing this to you as a resource. We have general financial scholarships, and we also have diversity scholarships for those who may be a person living with a disability, a member of a historically marginalized ethnic, gender, sexual minority, or over the age of 60, or an intersection of all and any of the above. You could see here, and there's the form. Don't mess around when you fill this stuff out. Don't half-ass it. Tell a story. Say why you need and what you're going to do and your passion for astrology. And that's with any scholarship that you catch out there in the astrological world. You know, there's so many people that apply and I wonder why they don't get picked. And, you know, you got to be rooted and you got to put it there and you got to mean it because we're reading this stuff. We're reading these applications, right? And you could see who's present and somewhat halfway there or someone who just thinks like, oh, I'm just going to, you got to be some Saturnian stuff there. You got to be real there. So I just want to say, I wanted to throw that up there for you all, okay? All right, a couple more things. All right. So much in my world. This is going to flash really quick, okay? This just came in the mail. Astrology in ancient Mesopotamia. I'm really psyched to get different outlooks about the history of where we come from, whatever. This is recommended to me and from someone in the class. It came up that I'm in. Haven't jumped in yet. It's all the first 2 pages. That came in the mail. Oh my God, I'm back here. There's 2 books. There's 2 to 3 books right now that are my world. And let me get this bookmark out of here. But here's Abu Mashar's book. This is a translation by Benjamin Dykes. It's a great introduction to the science and judgment of stars. Okay, people. There's a lot of other books out there, and they're great. This one, The Origin of Things, Why Something Is What It Is, the planets, the dignities, the Thema Mundi, which I'm going to get in a second. All of these things. I'm on the chapter right now. I'm looking at the natures of the 7 planets quick in motion, according to what Ptolemy said, right? And it's a translation, but I'm looking and trying to understand the classification of the planets and why. I know this stuff, but I need to review. So basically, this book and more is there. It's serious studying. Many people use this in the curriculum who are teaching Hellenistic and Persian astrology, so on and so forth. But I'm back here for my reasons. There are reasons why I'm back here, and I will be back here. So I just want to showcase this book. When I get a chance to put links, I have a bookshop.org. I'm going to put that here in a second. You could buy it through me. I make a little bit of money. It supports the channel. I'll put these links there. Okay, so saying that, I'm always on the solar returns. It's such a funny thing in astrology because there's different philosophies. Do you cast a solar return chart to where you are currently? You got people traveling just for the solar return for the week somewhere. I'm into the solar returns right now for the place that you were born. Now, Morin, an amazing astrologer, kind of changed it a little bit of where you would take in the light at the time you were born. So you got different philosophies. The medieval astrologers kind of do that. Other people, older ones are doing it the other way. Regardless, this is a great book to, there's another book on this, another translation, but this book in particular by Anthony Lewis, it's called The Art of Forecasting Solar Returns. I'm back in here, Anthony. He's an amazing astrologer. If you find his blog, it's an old school WordPress site that has so much amazing information, and he writes an article every week on there. Like, he's not on Substack, he's not on that, he's just got his own thing. Anthony's currently teaching a class on primary directions, or it might have ended for Kepler, part of their medieval track program with Shu Yap, but I love that part of the program. So on and so forth. I'm back in here because I've had some insights happen and I need some reinforcement. And so basically there's some chart examples that happen here and the importance of the ascendant and the solar return chart and about precession and all types of things and references, and a great book if you're diving deep here. I'm back here again to the tiny universe. This book is about the Thema Mundi by Joy Usher there in Australia. There's an accompanying book that comes with this. There's certain things that came up in the last week that have to do with rulership and everything else that I'm reviewing, and the Thema Mundi, and why planets work well in certain signs and they don't in others, right? When we're dealing with dignity and everything else. And there's many ways to learn this in many classes, different people, but this book is amazing. Just this table alone, there's a table in here that's called 7 Tables of the Planets' Relationships. And it's a graph about Saturn's relationships to the 5 planets, right? It says Saturn moon is mutually harmful, it says. Saturn's domicile is in the moon's detriment. There's these help to understand the intricacies of dignity and much more in the history of why there's essential dignity and debility and the rules behind that. And I like Joy's book on this. Now, there's other stuff out there, but I like Joy's book on this and her work. But anyway, it's called A Tiny Universe, Astrology, and the Thema Mundi charts. And yeah. And last but not least, Dougie. Dougie. That's Dougie. That's Dougie, for those who know. And I just was at the library and I was walking. I know this stuff. I need to just buy this. But, yep. Meaning. How do we search for meaning? There are so many ways and so many stories. From a Netflix series to a movie to books, to old myths and archetypes from ancient civilizations. Then there's Dougie and the story of Twin Peaks. You know, sometimes you don't get answers, right? Sometimes you don't get answers. But if you are tricked by the universe, or you catch the light, catch that thing that you pull in, that propels you forward, that makes you go somewhere, or learn something, or build something, to try to understand things, to bring more knowledge into your world. And that's life. And then we find insights and we find meanings, whether it's an astrology chart or it's a story or Dougie. That's what we do. And we have to always remember that when things are hard and what we do, things are collectively and difficult, we're playing out a story and stories. And that's what astrology is to me, is playing out stories and the intricacy and the cycles within a story, whether it's mine or yours or the world, okay? So that's what's up. Thank you for joining me on the live stream. I guess I should put my bookshop.org shop here in the chat. I'll say one more thing. I think I'm still live. Let me log into my shop and show you. Hey, that's me. That's my bookshop.org. You can see it in the copy. If you're interested in any of these books, I'll be adding them in. Let me throw this in the chat, and I'll say goodbye. Someone's a pirate. Someone's sailing the seas. Someone's sailing the seas in chat. And there's my bookshop.org. I dropped that chat in there. I have astrology must-have stuff I mentioned and other people have mentioned on this channel. My YouTube live stream list. I'm going to throw the books I did up on today on YouTube on this list. I mean, I might as well put Abu Mushar's one. I'll research it right now in the chat if I can find it. But yeah, that's my page. If you're going to buy a book, you can see everything that I've recommend and have recommended. Also, what others have recommended in my 3 Questions with Astrologers interviews. And is it going to give me anything with Benjamin Dykes? Nothing. It doesn't have any of his books. Oh, there it was. There it is. You could see all of Ben's books here. I'm looking for this one that I showed on the stream, and I do not see it. Internet's acting funny, but yeah, it's there. I will, man, what's going on here? Give me a second before I end the stream. And we're back. We're back to my thing. You can see my 3 Questions with Astrologers book list. I got a new video. I just did an interview last week. I'm going to try to post that here later in the next week and a half, which is a really good interview. You can see past NeuroWax speakers, all types of stuff. You see Ben Dykes' books, all of that. James Holden's, his Morin book right there. This book 23 is the one we're talking about. Revolutions. Those are solar returns. That's Morin's book to mention earlier, and a lot more going on there. Okay, that's my world. That's who I am. I'm Nicholas. I'm an astrologer, sparkles of gold, and it's time for me to eat. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for joining me on the stream today. Don't know how many of you are here, but I appreciate you coming in and spending time with me, okay? On that note, everybody who donated on the stream, thank you. All the links are in the copy. I work on chapter markers, and be chill this week, okay? We're going to this Eclipse week as we sail through things, and I'll talk to you soon. All right. See you.